Okay, here we got what is this round of 16 match between Izu and Frog No Hippo in the gold division of Cycle 2. I'll be joined by Enthos this time, fellow HoN Tour writer, and anything else? That's all I got right now.
Yeah, that's about it. As far as these two teams go, I've not heard of Izu. I'm well aware of Frog No Hippo. Beater's a pretty solid player, Artifa as well, Yemifa. All of them are pretty well known as far as the high brackets are concerned, and I'm sure they'll put up a good fight.
Yeah, Artifa's a pretty consistent forum poster, but no doubt some names that I recognize as well on the Hellborn side. I think I've seen Big Dick play before as well. I don't know if it was on this team or something else. I think it was, actually. I think I might have seen one of these players' games before. But Izu, a team, actually, that I don't know very well. And going up against some known names, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to be at a substantial disadvantage at this point. We've seen pretty much anything and everything happen, so just because people know who you are doesn't necessarily mean that you're all that much better. Anyway, go right in the bans here as they've got a couple out. Tempest and Silhouette getting taken out by Sickening on Legion's side, and Cthulhuphant and then Parasite removed by the Hellborn. So Cthulhu and a little bit of jungle presence there, and obviously some suicide as well with Parasite. Meanwhile, Legion's side removing the hard carry in Silhouette and another jungler in Tempest. So lots of jungles being taken out here. I'm not that super into it. We've seen a lot of junglers taken out in general, and I don't feel like the jungle's as strong as it is, or as it was back then.
Definitely. The thing about Cthulhuphon and Parasite is they're hands down two of the strongest heroes in the meta right now. Cthulhuphon is just insanely strong. Parasite's ability to push is also something to be feared, and Silhouette is definitely one of the stronger carries in the meta at the moment. So, understandable bans, but then they ban three of the strongest heroes only to pick Riptide, who's still pretty good as far as the meta is concerned.
Yeah, I mean Riptide, I'm not sure if he's first pick material, but definitely can understand why you'd want to go for a hero like that. Very, very dynamic and powerful, can really be a game changer. I think he's really one of the few heroes too that is extremely powerful in a laning phase, very difficult to fight against, ganks well, and then also carries late. Like every so often we'll see a Doctor mid or something like that. So yeah, it's a late game carry, but laning phase a little bit weak, and if he gets shut down early, which is very possible, then things don't go so well for him. But Riptide, not the case, and pretty expecting this, excuse me, to be a pretty good game for him right now. But Swiftblade can be the second pick, and that I would have expected to be a first pick.
Definitely. Yeah, the thing about Riptide is if you can counter him early, it hinders his potential drastically. I mean, if you run a dueling against him,
Yeah.
or get a Rev Ward, or both, that will definitely help out, because in a one-on-one matchup, it is very hard to beat that hero.
Yeah. Hellborn side, meanwhile, going to start off with Rhapsody and Madman. So first pick Rhapsody, and I don't know if you were watching yesterday. I'm going to guess not, because I think... Okay, no, I definitely know you weren't watching yesterday because we didn't actually stream yesterday's games with the guys from Shrek is Love. They're up on YouTube, but that's it. And Rhapsody was basically untouched for the whole series. First pick here by the Hellborn side, and we couldn't understand it, so I'm very happy to see that very, very powerful support come out early. I think she's far and away the best support in the game right now, and
absolutely
definitely first pick material.
Yeah, man, her pushing presence along with that ridiculously good ultimate, especially against a Riptide and Swiftblade, it is just really, really good. If Riptide's, chasing somebody down, he's about to kill him, and Rhapsody runs up and ults, he's pretty much rendered useless at that point.
Yeah, and I mean, there's pretty much nothing she doesn't do well. Staccato stuns come out too. That's a solid gank presence. Obviously lanes very well. Team fights, she pushes. There's basically no situation where she doesn't do well. Now the Aluna, hate that hero, terrible hero, doesn't win, awful pick.
Yeah, as far as supports go, I don't really like seeing her that much either. I mean, her early game presence, sure, she has plenty of damage output and from a decent range, but late game, all you've got is her stun. That's all she's good for.
And if you don't get bounces, it's not even that good. Meanwhile,
yeah,
they've got Empath still on the board, Glacius is there, Torturer is there. It's not like they were forced into the Aluna pick. They clearly want that hero. I just don't see
unusual.
Why.
Yeah, nor do I. I would have liked to see, Torture, even Glacius, because they have a Swiftblade. There's so many better picks than an Aluna.
Empath Swiftblade too. Hey, Nymphora. I mean, Witch Slayer, something. Give me a reliable stun. Give me some better damage output than the Aluna. And I assume we're going to see a Swiftblade Aluna lane. Very possible to see a Swiftblade Suicide, but I don't expect that coming out from this team. And Swiftblade Luna just doesn't feel like it's a particularly powerful lane.
Not at all. A 1 second stun for Swiftblade to follow up with a spin. I don't see it happening.
Yeah, and I mean, maybe they'll tri-lane or something like that if they feel like, I don't know, it's gonna be better. But that might be the only way to salvage this lane. So I'm a little bit skeptical here, especially because that really lets the Hellborn side know either they're gonna have a really weak dual lane or they're gonna tri-lane.
Yeah, I mean, 2 strong first picks from the Legion side, but that'll wall and Madman slow. As far as the Legion goes, they just picked a Pebbles, which means that they probably will be running that Swiftblade as a suicide hero.
Yep.
So maybe like a Pebbles Aluna bot, Riptide mid, maybe even a dual lane top, but I don't know.
Gravekeeper.
I like that hero. I love playing that hero. I think it's a very fun hero. Especially with a Pharaoh, man. Very strong pick for having a Pharaoh on your team.
Yeah, definitely.
I think it could turn out well against a Swiftblade and Riptide.
Definitely does well. We were playing TMM yesterday, and one of my friends played a couple of Gravekeeper games. Obviously, very strong hero, and he did quite well. So, well done. Yeah, Legion side did go to Pebbles. We totally skipped over bans, I think. Moon Queen, Dr. Repulsor, and Clanks were the bans for the Legion side. So targeting that short lane really, really heavily. Clanks?
Clanks is a hero you don't see in competitive play very much. I mean, his snowball potential is big. He definitely has a lot of damage output, but as far as CC goes, he needs a team that can hold his enemies in place while he puts those auto attacks out. So I don't think that Clanks would have been a good pick for either team at this point. I mean, he can be laned, or not laned pretty well, but he works pretty well with Pharaoh because Pharaoh gets them in the wall, he puts his damage out, so on and so forth. But I don't see why they would have banned Clanks at that point, especially since they already have a Madman and Rhapsody.
And, I mean, we've seen Willowkeeper run that hero a couple of times, and they are 2-0 with him. But,
really?
Yeah. Which is pretty surprising.
Yeah, I mean, he has great mobility,
mm-hmm.
but his utility just isn't all that great.
And he farms fairly well, but you really do need to build a team around him. Like, you have to have the Clanks pick in mind for the whole draft, I feel like, because you need the CC, and you need the protection, because he is pretty damn squishy if he does get caught out, so you have to make sure that you're ready to protect him as well as help him out in team fights a little bit so that he can manage to put out that ridiculous amount of damage, which he is very capable of. But yeah, I mean, with all the carries that are still on the board, even stuff like Hag, where you could put a dual lane bot or something like that with Madman Rhapsody. I mean, I see carry Hag too much anymore. That's just the first one I looked at. But then again, you know, I don't know, Gemini is available, TDL is available. What else? All sorts of stuff.
I'm thinking they're going to run another support for a dual lane mid, a Madman Suicide, and then maybe like a Pharaoh top. Maybe even, I don't know, they could be thinking a lot of things here, but I'm hoping they'll put that Gravekeeper middle against Riptide, because Gravekeeper honestly is a pretty strong hero against Riptide.
Yeah. And it is going to be the second support in Empath, so good call there. We also skipped the Hellborn bans, Magmus, Kraken, and Solstice, so focusing more on those initiators, the strength heroes, as well as the potential jungler and Solstice. And not bad, as, I don't know, I don't think any of those were really going to do too well. They did pick up a Pebble, so I guess that was sort of box them into a corner, now that I'm thinking about it. Anyway, Legion side will finish their draft off with Nymphora, so once again going for a bit of an odd support there in the Nymph. Obviously lanes very, very well with the Pebbles. Are you expecting tri-lane here or double dual lanes?
As far as the Hellborn is concerned?
Or the Legion?
Well, Riptide mid, no doubt about that. I'm thinking Pebbles, Nymphora bot, maybe even a tri-lane bot, the Swiftblade Suicide. I don't really know what they're thinking, but Swiftblade Suicide could definitely be a factor here. But if they do decide to run a tri-lane bot, Pebbles will get that free farm, enabling him to get an early portal key, which is definitely strong. I mean, as far as the Hellborn's team goes, they have really, really weak heroes as far as health is concerned. So he gets an early portal key, it's going to be bad news to this Hellborn team.
Really, really, really weak heroes. I mean, Pharaoh is the strongest one. Like, that's very often true, but Gravekeeper is so squishy. As far as carries go, especially melee carries, Madman is super, super squishy, so I definitely see an early portal key for Pebbles playing a huge impact if they can get that item up relatively quickly, and I think no doubt they're going to try to focus on shutting down this Pebbles. And it looks like we are going to see Aluna headed to the top lane. Swiftblade also going up there. Meanwhile, middle Riptide and dual lane bottom Nymph for a Pebbles. So, going to run a TMM strat here with a 2-1-2. It appears. Not bad. I think with the Pharaoh and the Suicide, I feel like he should be mostly okay. He's tanky enough, and Pebbles isn't going to have a lot of mana early on. So, by the time Pebbles is really able to try to kill him, he'll have Mummy Walls, he'll have Hellfire, and it'll be rather difficult. You favoring Legion side particularly in these lanes? Although I guess we don't really know what's mid yet, but probably Gravekeeper it looks like. Yeah. Anyway, thinking Legion side's gonna crush any of their lanes here, or are you going for Hellborn for the most part?
Well, Riptide got a counter ward for middle. That's definitely going to counter whatever counter ward they put down. But hopefully, let's see here. Yeah, I don't know, man. It could go either way. Swiftblade Suicide is definitely strong. I mean, against an empath, it's kind of hard because those walls will counter a Swiftblade pretty hard. Yep. But if he gets a nice spin-off, you know, it could be bad news for the Hellborn.
They're going to pull the wave here, take a lot of damage. Pebbles is going to drop the health, or mana pot actually, but it gets taken right off by the Mummy Walls. And he's going to bring the wave all the way back here through the bottom river. Has lost a lot of health, so he's going to be forced to be using a lot of his trees here and may even need an extra health pot. As really with Pebbles and him for a combo, all that stun potential, he's going to be in a lot of trouble if he doesn't stay at
pretty
high
lucky
health.
there with that wall.
Yeah.
If they had gotten just a little bit closer, he would have been dead. Absolutely.
So, trying to get lane control here, and does not succeed at all, as Pebbles just brings the wave right back. And he is going to get some experience off of that wave, and that'll be pretty crucial for him to get that Hellfire up relatively early, or even the Rocket if he wants to go greedy and try to get some CS. I'm assuming it's going to be Hellfire, though, because that's a much safer play. Top lane, meanwhile, is Aluna and Swiftblade versus the Madman Empath combination, which isn't a lane combo I'm used to seeing. I'm not sure if we've ever seen this before. How do you feel about these two together? Doesn't seem super synergistic.
No, I mean, as far as Madman goes, you almost always see him in a Suicide lane. His Suicide presence is insanely good. His mobility, along with the inability to kill him, and that invis is just great for snag and creep kills. I mean, I haven't seen him in a short lane in a very long time, but I'm curious to see how this pans out. As far as a Swiftblade, same thing as well, man. Like, you don't see Swiftblade in a long lane with supports unless you're running a tri-lane for the most part. So this could go both ways. I mean, Empath gets a big wall if they can snag early kill on that Aluna, but as far as on Swiftblade goes, I don't see it happening.
Yeah, almost certainly. Even if they try to go on Swiftblade, spin just makes it so dangerous to try to kill him, especially at early levels. You go for the Bloodlust and then get turned around on because of all the damage that comes out. But yeah, we've seen Madman get played in the short lane as the carry, I think, a few times. But even then, he's usually soloed. I'm not sure how often we've seen him run as a dual hero in the short lane. Every so often you also see him as a dual lane in the bottom lane, but the numbers do back it up. He's just not that good a carry in general. He's an extremely powerful Suicide and does very, very well as that type of hero, but in the short lane, less effective. He just doesn't carry that well. If you're going to put priority form on him, he needs really somebody else to help him out a little bit, because he's a great source of damage, but as we were talking about earlier, there isn't a lot of CC on the Hellborn side right now. And we're going to have to see if that's going to hurt them a lot, because what are we looking at right now? One reliable stun in Rhapsody, pretty much?
Yeah, that's about it. That Pharaoh wall, but Madman's going to have a hard time getting damage on that.
Right. Speaking of which, bottom lane, Pharaoh actually getting caught here. One more auto attack will finish. He gets the Bloodlust! Oh boy, Pebbles.
Wow.
That was very, very bad. Big dick showing off his big dick and turning it around onto Pebbles. Or I guess Balls maybe might have been a better use there. But yeah, Pebbles at 340 gold per minute, so absolutely crushing this bottom lane even after the Bloodlust. He must be really close to perfect CS. He's got 20 creep kills right now, despite taking the death down there and then missing some. So
yeah, I was surprised to see that turn. They should have tried to get him just a little bit farther from the tower and that would have been fine. I think that was pretty risky on their part. Especially against the Pharaoh, man, that's 3 seconds of just pure auto attacks from that tower.
Obviously didn't pay off right there as Pebbles gets turned around, but he's still doing quite well in this bottom lane, and Pharaoh at sub 200 gold per minute, so okay for a suicide, but not particularly great. Middle lane, meanwhile, we haven't talked about that too much, but Illusion Rune picked up by Riptide. There is a counter ward down, so obviously they can see him. Rhapsody came prepared, had that ward from level 1, and still going to be rather difficult, apparently, to lane against this Riptide. Gravekeeper is doing pretty good, actually, 300 GPM and 89 for Riptide. So, yeah, this is what we were talking about before, with Riptide in a dual lane, not doing very well. Now going to jump onto Rhapsody. There's a Zeal Stun coming in from Noom for a nice gank there. Rhapsody going to be in some trouble, will fall. Illusion's taking a whole bunch of damage from that tower and helping a lot when it came to keeping Riptide alive so that he did not take too much punishment. I think Gravekeeper Rhapsody lane, definitely interesting. And now actually Gravekeeper going to get jumped once again. Zeal Stun completely whiffs, and Riptide is going to be okay. Health Pocket gets popped by Gravekeeper there, so looks like that'll be the end of the engagement there. And Zeal also goes off, but the health pot gets taken off of... No, did he have a health pot on? I don't think so.
I don't believe so, no.
I'm just crazy.
I'm surprised to see a kill from the Legion side at that mid lane.
And also bottom lane, okay. Now Pharaoh is just killing Pebbles.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Yep, Pebbles gonna drop. Wow.
Are you massively behind me?
I am currently at 1632.
Oh, on the replay counter? Yeah, you're about 10, 15 seconds behind me.
Alright, I'm at 1652 now. Is that where you're at?
A little bit. Top lane, actually, Aluna goes down, but I'm going to pause at 17 minutes on the replay counter.
Alright, I'm at 1701 right now. 1702, 1703. So I think we're about matched.
Alright. 8.
Yeah,
9,
the roam presence from this Legion team is just doing very well. These lanes should not have lost, in my opinion. I mean, Swiftblade might be able to get a lucky spin-off on Empath, only if she missed her wall, but the fact that they're getting killed both bot and mid lane, that's pretty bad for the Hellborn team.
For the Legion team?
Yeah, I mean, mid dying to the Riptide in the roam from Nymphora.
Yeah.
Unfortunate. Especially since you have such a strong lane mid from Gravekeeper and Rhapsody.
I'm not really with you on that one. I don't know. Gravekeeper, Rhapsody, like nice single target stuff and a pretty good amount of damage, but I feel like they're relatively squishy, and they're going to see it once again as Riptide just drops a little bit of damage, and all of a sudden Gravekeeper's here at half health, so he's got to be somewhat careful in this lane, and Riptide is not that squishy here. He's got 815 health now and a stout shield, so if he can survive the stuns from the Hellborn side, and I think at this point he can, it's going to be really difficult for them to kill him, and then they can possibly even get turned around on if this Aluna were to hang around, which she's not. She's going to head back top and try to continue to support this Swiftblade. Top lane, meanwhile, looks like they're just trying to jump. As this link goes down, and immediately the stun comes out. There's the barrel roll into 2, but no real follow-up as neither side is particularly low. Top lane, though, we've got Swiftblade and... Oh, sorry. Skype was doing stuff. Anyway, we've got Swiftblade and Madman going at it. Looks like Madman's crushing this lane pretty damn hard. 150 GPM for Swiftblade and only and about 275 for Madman, not only. But
yeah, Madman's playing this really well. If you noticed, Aluna just did a power throw on Madman and he was able to barrel roll disjoint it. So that was well played from Warbeater, definitely dodging some of that damage.
Very impressive.
Yeah, he has a Steam Boots finish, opting out of a life tube as he is not taking that much damage after all. But yeah, so far so good for Madman. I like what Warbeater's doing.
Bottom lane, meanwhile, Pharaoh getting caught out here. Nymph heal will be very helpful, and they will manage to kill Pharaoh. So very nice pickup there, and quite essential. 350 gold per minute on Pebbles now, as Nymph actually is the one that picked up that kill. But you should have a portal key relatively soon. 1200 gold. Looks like he's going for it immediately. Riptide in the middle lane, going to get caught out by the Gravekeeper ultimate, and that's a pretty easy kill. So difficult to survive that one when you're by yourself. Obviously, you have nothing to mitigate all those zombies coming at you. Nice pick up by Art of FnoH.
I think it's such a great tool for stopping melee heroes in their tracks. I mean, especially a Riptide where he's just charging him with that tanky presence and all that damage. If you have a Gravekeeper to just stun him twice, throw that ult in his face, and drop him, that's huge, man.
Yep.
I think Gravekeeper is really underrated as far as a ranged damage outputter for early game and even late game is concerned. I think it's what this Hellborn draft needed because Madman's not going to pick up speed until probably later.
Top
he
lane,
does
so
take
slashes
farm.
are on Empath there, and the spin wall won't be able to do too much. Meanwhile, Riptide coming in with the downpour, and they're going to try to pick up Madman. That's not going to be very successful as Stock just way too powerful.
Yeah, too much mobility.
That's
they do get a pick though. Yeah, frustrating to say the least if you're reversing it.
What is it? 60 mana and gives you a 4-second invis on a 7-second cooldown. Yeah, okay, that's sure.
Strong ability, no doubt about it.
I mean, anyway, Nymphoria gonna get caught here in the woods. Caught just the tail end of that as Pharaoh manages to pick up the kill onto her. Did use the Wrath of the Pharaoh, it looked like. And no doubt very helpful there. Meanwhile, middle lane, Gravekeeper can get jumped as well, as we've got action all over the place. 5-5 hero kills right now, and this game is pretty damn even so far.
Yeah, man. Only a 700 gold difference and 97 experience, which is intangible to say the least. So very even so far, and it's about 10 minutes into the game.
And I think it's important to look at the GPM charts, and it's even in terms of overall resources, but you look at the Hellborn side, they've got gradually decreasing farm. On the Legion, it's Pebbles and just about nothing else. So Pebbles is going to basically decide, I think, whether or not they win this game. If he gets the portal key, which he's going to do in about 100 gold, or yeah, 200 gold maybe. If he gets the portal key and does a lot of work with it, he's going to open up space for Swiftblade and even Riptide to get some actual farm and be able to take them into this late game, or maybe even the mid game. Those are obviously both very, very powerful mid game heroes. And get a win. But if he can't turn this into a really dominating mid-game performance and create some map presence for them, I feel like they're going to be in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, I completely agree. Riptide's definitely a strong early and mid-game hero. His late-game presence fades just a little bit. That's what they had Swiftblade for, but Swiftblade's only at 160 GPM, man. Like, his early game is pretty much diminished at this point.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Gravekeeper's farming 317.
Yeah. And so Swiftblade, as far as carries go, I mean, we've seen him playing the suicide role. He doesn't need that much farm. He needs more than 160 gold per minute, but it's not like he's 500 GPM or you lose type hero. Stun, meanwhile, going up top, actually. Swiftblade really wants this kill on Empath, but she had a nice rotation there, getting into the woods. Swift Slashes were available, yes, and that would have been a kill onto Empath if they had managed to catch her out, but realizing what was happening.
Mid lane.
Yep.
Riptide's getting gone on.
I'm trying to use the power throw there to just help him out, but it's not going to be too much as they got the end of that. And then here comes Pebbles with the new portal key. Managed to get the kill onto Gravekeeper. Zill stun misses from Nymphoria, and that's going to be pretty much it, I think. So ends up being a 1-for-1. In favor of Legion side, though, obviously, because they traded the 140 GPM Riptide for a 315 now GPM Gravekeeper, and that's exactly what Pebbles needs to do.
Yeah, no doubt about it. If he keeps finding picks like that, this Hellborn team is going to have a very hard time.
And there he goes again. Rhapsody. Just nothing.
Man.
That was a misplay.
Yeah, his position there was terrible. I don't know what he was thinking.
Yeah, I mean, Pebbles is not a, oh man, he just uses combo, I'm safe for a minute and a half type hero. It's back up in 20 seconds. So,
yeah,
you gotta be a little bit more careful of that, and you gotta be thinking, okay, if he just used his combo and he's sitting in the middle lane, he can do it again. Like, I can see his mana, it's not like he doesn't have enough of that.
Gravekeeper roaming bot with haste.
Yep, and we're gonna see Riptide get jobbed once again. He does pick up the kill, so.
He'll get dropped.
Nice catch, and.
Well played from Artifa.
So what does this Hellborn need to do now? Or Hellborn team need to do now? They've got Pebbles rotating top. There's Madman. He's dead. Empath is in a lot of trouble. The stun comes out onto her. She will fall to the power throw. Rhapsody trying to do something here. Swift Slashes are going to get a kill along with the last hit there. And Wrath of the Pharaoh comes in. This is going to be a counter kill onto Swiftblade, so that'll be at least one, but it's 3 deaths for the Hellborn team.
3 for 1 trade at the top lane. That's grim for the Hellborn team. They had a pretty good start, I mean, as far as the lanes are concerned, especially against a Riptide, but now this Pebbles is just dominating.
Yep, he's doing exactly what he needs to do, and you look at the vision situation for the Hellborn side. They've got one in the mid river and one in the bottom river. There's nothing pretty much up at this top jungle, and this is going to be a problem for them. Like, they need more wards than this if they want to fight against a Pebbles who has a 13.5-minute portal key. As he's already shown, it's incredibly powerful, and like we said during the early game, against this team, they're just so damn squishy. Nobody's going to be able to survive the burst, except for Pharaoh at this point. So, I mean, they've got to get some more vision. Like, Rhapsody and Empath need to have more wards up, and they both have a ward. Actually, Rhapsody's got 2, so perhaps just a matter of placing them. Meanwhile, middle lane going to get jumped once again. There goes the power throw as well, and Artifa is going to fall, so again and again and again. I mean,
yeah, they needed those wards up much sooner than they just had. I'm sure they got reamed for not having vision just a couple minutes ago as Pebbles ganked twice across the map.
And
but
Nymph
port top.
Yep.
Pebbles.
And you're just dead, Empath. So.
Empath, sorry. Wow.
So this is exactly what Pebbles needed to do, and well done to him for realizing, you know, I've got my portal key. I need to make some action happen. There was a game yesterday, and I was actually bottom lane. Pharaoh trying to chase on the Swift Blade, and there goes the Wrath of Pharaoh as well. Swifty's in a lot of trouble here, and he's going to fall. So despite some speed from the Ghost Marchers, the Hellfire's way, way too powerful. And to his credit there, Pharaoh not pounding in too many auto attacks, knowing that the ticks from the Hellfire and all those stuns were going to do a bunch of damage. If you auto attack, you can sometimes lose the range from Hellfire, and it would have possibly allowed Swiftblade to get away. So well played there from Pharaoh as he picks up a very important kill. They're going to need to keep this Swiftblade and Riptide down. It's going to be very difficult with this Pebbles.
I think right now it's a matter of both teams trying to gank the other team enough for either the Madman or the Swiftblade to get enough farm to carry into the mid or late game.
Yeah.
So I mean, Pharaoh and Gravekeeper, they're doing pretty well at trying to gank heroes and whatnot. Pebbles is just, it's nonstop. And it looks like he's gonna be aiming for that push book next. So solid pickup. And yeah, man, I mean, a double support team against the Pebbles is just, that's pretty grim. But if they get the vision down for it, they can definitely counter Pebbles.
Honestly, I think push book here is a little unnecessary. I mean, you've got 2 supports. It feels like at least one of them should be able to pick that up. I'd rather go for a Bulwark or something, give them a little bit more physical presence. Because right now, so much of their damage is magical from Swiftblade and Pebbles. And of course, late game, obviously, Bulwark scales very well, so we'll see how that push book works out for them. Stalagmite's not going to connect as Madman actually baits them out, and this might be a good turn as that cooldown is gone. Riptide going to drop the ultimate, but he's going to be in a lot of trouble. Pebbles jumps in there. Years of Pain immediately drops. Nice Rhapsody ultimate, saving a lot of damage. Swiftblade also going to fall, so ends up being a 2-for-0 so far. Empath jumping inside of Madman there. Essence Link on top of Pebbles. Uses the distance to break the stun. Zeal Stun actually connects onto Rhapsody there, but that's going to be a nice counter from Pebbles. Will actually get the kill on the board beater, but he falls in the end as well. 3-for-1 exchange so far, and the Rocket at the side won't get too much out. So,
that's exactly what Hellborn needed. They just took, you know, a lead, not very significant, but 1,000 gold, 2,000 experience, and it looks like they're going to get this mid tower, definitely. They needed to kill on that Pebbles, and they got it, so I'm happy to see that for the Hellborn team.
It did cost them their Madman, of course, but at this point I do think that is worth it. He's at 400 gold per minute, and they just need to slow him down.
The Pebbles, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, 400 gold per minute is a dangerous prospect, bursting of Pebbles, but that's you got to kill on him, and counter gank, that's solid.
Yeah.
Solid work from the Hellborn team, and I'm glad to see them have a lead after what looked like, you know, Pebbles dominating this game and just taking over.
Yeah, and despite that, it really hasn't turned into too much farm for either Riptide or Swiftblade. Still both under 200 gold per minute. Swiftblade at 170. So I don't understand what's going wrong for him here.
So right now it's basically Pebbles versus Pharaoh and Gravekeeper, and who will be the victor among those 3?
Yeah. But like, I don't get why do you think Swiftblade is not farming better than he is? It doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
Yeah, they just got down in that top lane. I wasn't paying too close attention to it since I was watching all the ganks across the map. But I mean, I'm looking about right now and he's missing some creep kills, which he can't be doing. Like he needs to get every creep kill possible right now. And it looks like he might be trying to push the bot tower. It's at about half life. But yeah, he only has a soul scream ring, so he will be going for that Energizer. But the fact that he doesn't have it 18 minutes in, that's grim.
Yeah, and I mean, Swiftblade, like I said before, doesn't need that much farm, but yeah, he does need more than this, and hopefully going to be some stacks in the jungle. There is one over here by the hard camp, and he can spin on top of those. Maybe get some little more efficient farm. As mid lane, once again, the initiation onto Empath, actually. She will die to the power throw, and Wrath of the Pharaoh came in. That was a mistake.
That was a huge mistake. Why would Pharaoh initiate on a 3 heroes?
Trying to save an Empath of all heroes, too. I can understand that if it's like Madman or something, but...
Yeah.
Empath, sorry, buddy, but guess what? You're not that high priority. That's going to turn into a
And,
mid-push, it looks like.
Yeah, don't initiate onto a double damage Riptide, especially if you're alone.
Pro tips
Rule
from
number
Enthos,
1.
don't initiate into double damage Riptide. That's why we're here, folks. Or mostly, that's why you're here. I'm here to say stupid stuff.
I'm just here for the ridiculously good insight, such as don't initiate onto Riptide with double damage. But 2 tower kills coming out from this Legion team.
Yeah.
That's a huge gold increase. Now that they are up by about 4,000 gold and 1,000 experience.
Including a tier 2. And the map control, too, for the Legion is
yeah,
going to be ridiculous at this point. Having both mid towers down is just going to completely open the Hellborn jungle. And Madman's not farming too badly. Of course, he is a very mobile hero, difficult to kill with the stock, but at the same time, he's still not very tanky with 1,000 health. He only has a sustainer. I assume he's going to go for a Nullstone here, which, not bad. I think, I can't
really
imagine.
hope he's not going for a Rune Cleaver at this point.
I can't imagine it'd be Cleave. Well, he's got 1,600 health, or 1,600 gold, so he could still get it within the next 5 minutes or so. But
yeah, I think he definitely needs a Nullstone, especially against that Riptide.
Yeah.
I mean, Riptide's silence can counter that Madman,
Right.
disable him from using stock, the Swift Slashes. But they only have 3 single target spells in this Legion team, but all 3 of them are pretty worthy.
That's the thing I was concerned about too, because Swiftblade Swift Slash is almost certainly, they're not going to be careless enough to break the Nullstone with that. And after that, it's the Illuna Stun, which is annoying but not super powerful, and I would imagine she's, again, it bounces, so I don't know why you would target the Nullstone target. So that's mostly going to be the Riptide Silence, which I think may entirely be worth it to get a Nullstone just for that, because it is so powerful. But it does mean that it's not like it's going to be the most useful item in the world in terms of the effect. But then again, okay, so there's an Nullstone pickup. Then again, just having the Sustainer, the regen, is very, very helpful when it comes to farming and fighting, of course. So we might see an engagement here.
Yep. Both teams at the top lane. Pharaoh initiates.
Yep, there we go, Riptide, and he's going to get caught in the mummy walls, gets push book right out of it, so that's going to be really hard to kill him. Madman taking a whole bunch of damage right off the bat. Nice red stun there, and Pebbles comes in the back, but Agraph's ultimate saves a ton of damage. Focuses fire on her. She's going to fall here to the Swiftblade spin. Swiftblade drops some slashes, but lots of creeps there, and now he's in the mummy walls, in a lot of trouble. He's going to fall. Over here, Gravekeeper trying to live, just barely going to die to the Illuna auto attack, but kills Pebbles before she does so. And before trying to run away, and I think she might actually make it. Drops the the heal, and Riptide will also fall. So both supports up for the Legion side, and Empath and Pharaoh up for the Hellborn side. I think that's going to be nope. Never mind. Actually, nice rocket from Pharaoh there, manages to finish off Nymphora. Not sure what she was sticking around for. She had about 50 health. But I think Illuna's going to be okay at this point. Even another rocket will not kill her. She has 220 health.
Wow, what a fight. That was just all over the place.
Yeah.
I'm surprised, man. The Hellborn came out on top. They got that initiation on the Riptide. Wait.
Yep. Okay. Illuna's going to get killed.
Wow.
Yeah.
We're going to go ahead and say that was a quad kill on Pharaoh's part.
Yeah.
That is huge.
That fight took a full minute because Pharaoh initiated it with his hook and then used it again to finish off the Illuna, which I think must have been a blind hook because I seriously doubt he had vision of her. She was like past the tier 2 tower at that point.
Yeah, he guessed, and that was well played from him.
Yeah, so
he gets that bulwark too.
Pharaoh's 10, 3, and 4.
And Sackstone. Yeah, he's keeping them in this game big time. I mean, Gravekeeper does have slightly higher farm, but he's providing the time needed for that Madman and Gravekeeper to just get out of control.
Yeah, it's definitely Pharaoh that's doing all this. Anyway, Pebbles catching Rhapsody here and getting a counter word with a word that was just placed, so that hurts. Full 6 minutes of vision there, go away with a nice rev. And yeah, going back to Pharaoh for a second too, barbed armor, mystic vestments, so he's going to basically be impossible for Pebbles to kill on his own. Possibly even, you know, with 2 heroes, they might find some difficulty killing him. And his initiation and his disruption in these teamfights, too, with the Mummy Walls and the Hellfire, has been key to their ability to not only stay in this game, but win some of these teamfights, which has been, I don't know, kind of surprising to me. It feels like that they're not getting rolled over with how impactful this Pebbles has been, but again, the GPM chart's just mediocre across the board for the Legion side.
Yeah, Pharaoh making his presence known. That Gravekeeper ulti on top of his wall is really strong, and I like what they're doing, man. I think that they're playing this very well for the snowball effect that Pebbles had just a few minutes ago.
Yeah, and he's down to 380 too.
Yeah, Definitely. So Pebbles still the highest GPM in this game, but Gravekeeper and Pharaoh
once
close
again.
behind.
Gonna get 2 maybe, or nothing, because they might have done that really, really badly. Wall if mummies are on 2. Pushbook out of it, but looks like Nymphora will fall first. Pebbles also gonna die. Power Stroke finally finishes off Rhapsody, but I don't know if they were intentionally going for the dual kill there, because I don't think he got the combo off correctly, but they do manage to at least pick up the Rhapsody. It does cost them Pebbles and Nymphora, obviously not really what you're looking for when you're ganking, but I guess they killed something.
Yeah, it's unfortunate they didn't get Gravekeeper. I mean, that should have been their primary target, but that Nymphora stun missed both of them.
Yeah.
So they were thinking that they dodged the right, but I think if Nymphora would have aimed a little bit better, they would have had both of them.
And that too
so
shows
that's really unfortunate.
The power of vestments. Gravekeeper was dead.
Power of vestments.
And that very possibly, if Gravekeeper died too, then no stun from him, and then that very possibly could have led him to do a Rhapsody kill as well. So vestments right there, 500 gold item, saving them what a few hundred, maybe 600 gold on a couple of deaths, as well as picking up a couple of kills. Pretty powerful item.
Yeah. Insight number 2 coming out from Enthos. If you're versing a Pebbles, buy vestments, ladies and gentlemen.
And why is that?
Well, 500 gold investment for about a 25% reduction in magic damage. I'd say that's pretty strong.
Yeah.
But that's just me.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know. I'm not sure if I can trust you on that one.
Hey, you don't have to trust me. It works. Proven.
Oh boy. Oh, Gravekeeper. Oh, that's painful. Pharaoh can initiate though. Is he gonna drop the mummy walls? Probably shouldn't do. Actually, he probably should have done so, because now Empath and Rhapsody are going to be in some trouble, and that might have prevented some further aggression. He might not have had the opportunity.
No.
Dead Rhapsody, dead Empath, and that was not the engagement that the Hellborn side wanted to take.
Massacre.
But they need to stop chasing.
Misplay after misplay.
Yeah.
Gravekeeper's Balls of Steel just sitting right next to their entire team. Revward goes down, instant swift slashes to drop him instantly.
And then Pharaoh, what are you doing, man?
Yeah.
There's 4 heroes there, and it's not like the rest of your team is right behind you. Like, you're hooking in from almost max range, it felt like.
He was 12-3, he was feeling ballsy, and it did not pay off yet again.
So.
And then, you know, Rhapsody could have gotten away there, but she came back to try to save Empath. It just did not pan out for either of them.
I think Pharaoh had an opening to drop mummy walls there too, which probably would have saved both supports, because it at least would have trapped them for a second long enough to get the 2 supports away. I don't know if he actually had it. I mean, it's difficult to tell, but if he did and he couldn't drop them, and he didn't drop the mummy, that was probably a bit of an error too. But they do get the tier 2 bottom out of that, so nice engagement, and then they actually hit something, which is, of course, is very, very helpful. Triple stacked Ancients as well for the Legion side.
Yeah. I'm convinced that this Hellborn team are very close friends, because they're just so intent on saving each other time after time. It's never working out, ever.
They're feeling the love.
They are, but it's the love is not paying off.
It's not. 07 and 8 too on Rhapsody, so a hero that we've talked up a little bit earlier. Not having the greatest performance here. 94 gold per minute. Has had a couple of nice ultimates, but to be honest, I don't feel like this is the type of game we typically see from Rhapsody in terms of the overall impact. You look at the tower situation. Legion side have only lost their middle tower. Top tower is about 1/3, and bottom tower is about 3/4 or so. And it's not like the Hellborn have the greatest pushing team in the world, but Rhapsody turns teams into pushing teams. So
yeah, I agree with that. And not only that, but the fact that you're versing a Pebbles, you need to establish map control as quickly and efficiently as you can. They just don't have it at all.
And just very strange wards.
Yeah, definitely.
Like
that Rev ward at the bot lane, I don't know about that. And then that one in the Legion jungle, that's an aggressive ward for how this game's panning out.
Like, I don't understand why that ward is there at all. I get the one in the river, that makes sense. I mean, you gotta protect Kongor, gives you a lot of vision, that's fine. But their jungle's totally exposed. And they have no tier 2 mid tower. They only have the tier 2 top, so if somebody gets caught in these left hard camps, then that's just gonna be a dead hero. There's gonna be no support for them.
I'm surprised how Empath even got that far into the Legion jungle to put that ward down.
That's a good point.
Yeah, but I completely agree with you, Quincy. I mean, these wards from the Hellborn team are just, they're not good, to put it simply.
Yeah, and
they need defensive wards, and they don't have them.
It seems strange, because it doesn't seem like, I'm going to just say, there haven't been that many good plays in this game. I mean, it's Gold Division, and it's the round of 16, so this is not necessarily the highest tier of competitive play, but at the same time, I feel like the Switchblade still isn't farming very well. Pebbles has done exactly what he needed to. Meanwhile, Empath is pretty much dead here. And that's what I meant by you don't have any wards that are protecting your jungle. But, I mean, we've seen some weird plays from Pharaoh. We've seen some pretty poor farm here from Switchblade. I really like what Pebbles has done so far, but I don't know. I'm sort of unimpressed with a lot that's happened in this game.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, slight misplays coming out from Nymphora, Pharaoh, nearly every hero so far this game, but the Pebbles presence is just too much. I mean, once you get a portal key, it's not exactly that hard to gank with that hero, but he's doing what he needs to be doing.
Yeah.
They're about to get this last tower outside of the Hellborn's base. So they need to start turtling in hope that they get some lucky team fight with a huge initiation from Pharaoh.
Nymphora Port gonna head bot, but it looks like Pharaoh will be able to get out of there as he saw that coming in some capacity. Bottom tower will take some damage, but not too much, still just under half life. And I gotta feel like Hellborn should group up here. I don't know what else they can do. They've got Rhapsody ultimate, they've got the Gravekeeper ultimate, but the more they just sit in their woods without a lot of vision and try to farm their opponents, I don't think this is going to work. Like, Pebbles is just going to keep ganking, and they've got Riptide and Swiftblade here, so even if they play a purely passive game on both sides, it's not like Hellborn are necessarily going to come out on top, and actually I think they would come out behind. So they need to get aggressive, I feel like.
Yeah, whenever you're playing as a double support team, you're not looking to take it in the late game, ever. I mean, both supports, while they do have strong ultimates, that being Empath and Rhapsody, the late game presence is just 0 to nothing. So it's going to be hard for them to win team fights as this game progresses further and further. So hopefully they'll be able to find some good pickoffs and Gravekeeper can get some big items. I mean, he did finish his Shrunken Head, he has his tablet, and Madman also just finished his Shrunken, which is going to be big, but you know, the physical presence from Riptide and Swiftblade, that could prove deadly for both of them. So I'm curious to see how the next team fight turns out, because that could very well determine this game.
And we might have one here, as the entire Legion side is hanging out in the bottom river. And Swiftblade stealing the Hellborn Ancients. Doesn't look like they really want to initiate on this, and I can understand why. But getting the jump is maybe a better thing than letting Pebbles get jump you. That was a sentence.
No, you're right. I mean, I think that they need to jump the Pebbles before he can get anything off and kind of just distract them to the point where Pebbles has a bad initiation. He wastes his abilities, and then he's useless for the next, 8 to 10 seconds. So, we'll see. I mean, Hellborn's grouped out. They have the vision from the Pharaoh rockets, but looks like Legion team's moving in.
And then, I'm thinking right now, can they jump the Pebbles? He's got 2,200 health.
No, I don't think they can jump the Pebbles.
Oh, never mind, they're gonna. Well, regardless, one will else go down. Actually, that's a pretty nice placement right there. Gets tableted out, and the Swift Slashes are down. In the background, nice ultimate for Rhapsody, saves a bunch of damage, but it looks like Pharaoh's gonna be the first one to fall right here. Madman trying to pound in the auto attacks, has the Shrunken Head up. He's trying to run through this. Empath wall, mildly disruptive, not too much. Rhapsody getting the staccatos on an Nymphora, but is gonna get turned around on pretty easily. Years of Pain on that Riptide finally does fall, and so does Nymphora, so 2 for 2 so far. Slightly in favor of Hellborn, I think, at this point, because Pebbles is now also getting chased down. Empath is inside of Gravekeeper, but man, that is the luckiest invis rune in the history of the world. It won't matter, as he actually doesn't even pick it up. So hat trick there from Gravekeeper, and yeah, turns out initiating the Pebbles was the correct decision.
Wow. Yeah, the thing about Barbed Armor on Pharaoh is when you're reversing the Swiftblade and Swiftblade ultis you, none of the damage is going to be dealt back onto him. So it was questionable. It did pay off because Gravekeeper came out on top. It's a 3 for 2 trade in the Hellborn favor, which is what they need since Madman and Gravekeeper are still alive. But that I'm really surprised it turned out that way for the Hellborn team.
Yeah, me too. I don't know if they were just missing stuff or whatever, but it didn't seem like there were too many errors in that team fight. It just seemed to go the Hellborn way for whatever reason. But then again, I think we see more often than not the team that takes the initiative and initiates. And by the way, that is where the word initiates come from, or they have, I think, some sort of common root there, and that's why I said basically the same word twice in one sentence. Anyway, the team that initiates is very often rewarded for it. It seems like they, for whatever reason, or probably a very good reason, because they have the better coordination and they have the better plan going in, as opposed to just being reactive. They tend to come out ahead, and so I feel like in that situation it was as much the initiation advantage as anything.
Well, they definitely did think that through, Quincy, and here's why. They initiated in the middle lane where Swiftblade would be surrounded by creeps to force Swiftblade to use that ulti on Pharaoh so that he could not use it on the rest of the Hellborn team. If he did, the RNG would dictate that he would probably hit some creeps, thus wasting part of his ulti.
Yep.
So well thought out from the Hellborn team. Just completely, not completely disabling, but at least hindering that Swiftblade ultimate to some degree. So well played from them.
Yeah, definitely a good point, and see, that's why I bring people on here that are smarter than me and know what they're talking about, because
I don't know about smarter, but I play this game a little bit too much, so
yeah.
we'll just look at that.
Anyway, so things are a little more even than they were before. No doubt Legion's side still has an advantage, and I'm still feeling they have the better late game presence with the Swiftblade and the Riptide, as well as Pebbles, who does scale fairly well. But something that I noticed before, and then they started fighting, but Pebbles went for Grimoire.
Yeah, I mean, it gives him a lot of mana, but I really don't like it as an item on that hero. I mean, if you're already jumping support heroes in, Madman's Gravekeepers, chances are, if you jump them and your team's close to follow up, you're going to bring those heroes down. Now, while it does give you the mana, provided that you can, kill creeps consistently, gank heroes consistently, I would have liked to see something more like a sheep stick, just to, bring down that Madman or Gravekeeper as you initiate.
That's precisely what I was thinking. 5,100 gold for a Grimoire of Power, 5,600 gold for a Sheepstick. There's not enough of a difference there to make up for the fact that the Grimoire just doesn't provide enough. And actually, he jumped Empath here. That's an easy kill, but they were baiting that really hard. There goes the Mummy Walls on top of the Gravekeeper ultimate. Riptide has a shrunken head up. He's going to get the hell on out of there. Swiftblade spins away. So the Legion side might be okay here as they run to the tower. Nelson gets deactivated by the Aluna stun. And Shrunken Head up on Madman. They're going to be able to lock down Swiftblade. All of a sudden things are going a lot better for the Hellborn team, but Pebbles comes back in with the Chuck, gets a couple of kills, and now the Legion side is turning it around as the Hellborn dove way too far. And it looks like the top tower does go down. In the meantime, off to the side here, Gravekeeper does get picked. Pebbles trying to get the kill into Rhapsody. Staccato stuns are still on him, but that's not going to last for much longer, and I don't think the juke is going to be enough here. Pebbles definitely has vision. There's the power throw connects as well, and the combo. Easy kill there for Pebbles. Ends up being a genocide with only the Legion side losing Swiftblade. And here comes the Nymph port, actually the middle lane where Riptide is. So this is going to be a mid-tier 3 tower push, I'm guessing. Buyback situation, Hellborn side has Gravekeeper, Madman, and Pharaoh available. Empath is back up, so they can defend this, I think, but it doesn't look like they're going to.
Are we going to see the yellow Empath? We're going to see it, and he's going to fall as a result.
Bad decision.
Definitely. Pharaoh going in.
Yeah, okay, again, dude, bad plan.
Gonna get Pebbles down.
Wow, they did kill Pebbles. That's kind of surprising.
Now Luna's pretty low, but Gravekeeper has no portal key.
And Pharaoh Rocket
Nymph
won't be able
could
to
fall here. Will they get Nymphora, ladies and gentlemen?
There's the
I think they're
Rocket.
gonna get him.
Yeah, I mean, there's 15 seconds on the Pharaoh ultimate, so. Oh, Mummy Walls missed, but okay. Runs right back in Gravekeeper. No matter what, I think that was a dead Nymphora. Even if she had made the juke, they still had the Pharaoh ulti, and getting the vision for it with the Rocket obviously very easy. So
yeah, I think the Legion team should have backed a little bit. I mean, you saw that Pharaoh was going to be up soon. Clearly, he has his ulti up to initiate with. So I think they stayed a little bit too long, but it's good they got the kill on Pebbles because now they can hopefully take this bottom tower, maybe even 2 if they're quick enough.
Okay, Aluna has just Sheep Stick, so.
Uh-oh, that's bad.
She's got 290 gold per minute. And she's
Not
7-2
bad.
and 11. Like, I completely missed that. Entirely.
Well, I mean, you were right in saying that Aluna's definitely not a strong support hero in the meta right now, but she's playing this very safely. I mean, she gets in there, gets her son off, gets back, and just power throws consistently, which is what you need to do with that hero. I mean, you can't really provide much else. So, yeah, Frankie Figs is definitely doing a good job playing that Aluna, which you hardly see these days. I haven't seen Aluna in a very long time.
It's a terrible, terrible hero. It's got one of the lowest win rates in the game. It might actually be the lowest. Yeah.
Wow.
It might be Gauntlet. I don't know if it's Gauntlet or Aluna or Rally. It's one of those 3, I think.
Not Scout or Nighthound.
Nighthound, I don't think we've ever seen Nighthound.
Oh, you're talking about competitive play.
Yeah,
strictly.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Really, Rally has one of the lowest win rates in
Rally's
competitive play.
terrible.
I'm really surprised to hear that. It's a very strong physical damage hero.
Terrible hero. I hate it.
What?
I hate Rally.
Why do you say that?
Because I feel like Portal Key, Compel, Seismic Slam, and then what? Like, it's good burst damage, but he doesn't carry, and if you miss your Compel or your Seismic Slam, which is not that hard to do, or you get interrupted, again, not that hard, he's got nothing. Like, he has 2 spells in Battle Experience and Demoralizing Roar that do very, very little. And Compel's, yeah, it's one of the best spells in the game, but I don't think it's enough to make up for the fact that he's basically got 2 spells.
I mean, if you need physical presence, that's one of the go-to heroes in the meta at the moment. I mean, Compel and Seismic Slam, yes, they're hard to hit. I have a hard time hitting Compel, I'm going to admit it. I'm not very good with that hero.
Me neither.
But if you see somebody good playing that hero, and you're versing an enemy team that has nothing but shrunken heads, he can be very effective.
Yeah. I mean, any hero I think can be effective in the right lineup, but he hasn't been very good, and I think I agree with that. I don't think he's a particularly good hero. But
Fair enough.
anyway, personal biases aside, I also hate Aluna, so
Yeah.
I
agree with you on that one. Aluna, definitely not the best hero.
I like my leaderboards because it's very easy to selectively justify the heroes that I don't like, and say, oh, this one's bad, and then you just ignore the ones that are good.
Here's the thing about Luna, though, is it's not a matter of opinion whether that hero's bad. It is a fact that that hero's bad.
It's just
you can look it up in an encyclopedia. Just not a good hero through and through.
I mean, you look at the skill set, and no. Does she have the weakest ult in the game, do you think?
Well, as far as sniping people, I love sniping people with that hero. I used to play that hero back when she was decent, and sniping people's fun, but yeah, I mean, if you get a good red saw, very effective tool. You can get huge stuns off on the enemy team, but you gotta have perfect positioning, know exactly when and where to stun, and it's one of the hardest stuns to land in the game because you don't know how the RMG is gonna go for it.
Right, and that's the big problem right there, is it's just not reliable, and in competitive play like this, you can't take a whole bunch of... Man, you're just spamming.
Well, I have a bunch of friends ask me to play games, so instead of whispering, you know, to each one, I just put that up so they know what I'm doing, and if they want to tune in, they can do so.
Yeah, but anyway, the unreliability factor, like, it's just having heroes that you don't know what they're gonna do doesn't tend to be a popular theme in competitive play, and you can certainly see why, because, you know, even if you play right, getting punished is kind of sucks. Anyway, mid lane, it looks like the Legion side's going to try to take these racks, and the Hellborn are going to respond to it, no doubt. As Empath is inside of Madman right now. They're going in. Nullstone gets deactivated off the bat, but there go the racks. They're all going to jump, but no walls, and they're out. So that was interesting.
Get in there, enforce them, and get out. Yeah, I think the Hellborn team was in a bad place. They should not be that far when they don't know where the Legion team is.
And it felt like they were really, really late reactions. I don't know if, I guess Pharaoh didn't have a port. I don't think Rhapsody had one either. Empath obviously got inside of Madman, but not having TPs without a tier 3 tower and being that far away from your base, pretty serious. So Congo is going to go down here, and it's going to get spotted by a Pharaoh rocket, but I think it's going to be dead too fast for them to do anything about it.
Inside number 3, carry TPs at all times.
Yeah.
No matter what.
Great.
I hope they don't initiate here.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Very bad. As there goes the ultimate, actually, in a nice Mummy Walls, catching just, catching a whole bunch of his allies instead. There goes Gravekeeper, and Empath also going to fall. Looks like he's going to be clean up city for the Legion side. Pharaoh's trying to run away. He's not be able to do so as his friends are dying in the background, and there go the Mummy Walls, but not going to do anything for him. Sheepstick finishes him off, or helps to at least. And
I cannot even begin to say how bad of an initiation that was in the Hellborn team.
Yep.
I mean, Gravekeeper's shrunken head nearly diminished by the time that he initiated on the Legion team. And they had a token, like what were they thinking? The token is still up too, so a 1 for 5 trade, token's still up.
They basically waited until Gravekeeper's shrunken head wore off, and then jumped in.
They panicked, I think. They saw the shrunken head, they're like, oh shit, we need to go, and they went, and bad move.
Yeah.
Panic is never good.
And if we get Enthos inside, here's Quincy inside number 1. Don't take fights right after your shrunken head wears off. It's a bad plan.
Good insight, for
Yeah.
sure.
Barracks has been
I'm learning.
destroyed.
I'm
Keep
getting
that
better.
one in mind, folks. Keep that one in mind. It'll pay off. Now, as we were talking about just before that, the Luna stun hit 3 of Gravekeeper's minions in the
Yeah.
5-second stun without a Gravekeeper minion.
Oh my god.
So not the most effective stun, for sure.
Still not doing bad. 310 GPM, has a sheepstick, and she's been very effective in this game, so we keep crapping on Aluna, but I think this player, Frankie Figs, has just been, hey, taking us to school a little bit.
He must have heard us, and he's trying to...
In the past.
Yeah.
This match was played, what, a week and a half ago, something like that? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we're justifiably insulting the potential for Luna, but he's playing well. We'll give him that, but it's not the hero. It's him.
Yeah. I mean, like any hero, if you put him in the hands of the right player, can be very, very good. I don't think that this is necessarily an indication that Aluna is this strong, just that she's having a good game.
Mm-hmm. Riptide finishes a Frostwolf skull.
And it looks like Legion side is just about done with this game.
Yeah, 450 GPM on Riptide's behalf, 380 on Pebbles. The GPM chart does not look good.
Only brought Aluna, a little curious. And there goes the Shrunken Head on Gravekeeper. Sheepstick gets popped pretty early on Swift Blade. Ultimate from Gravekeeper as well, but it looks like nobody's dying on Legion side. Finally Aluna dies, but not before Madman dies first. Good trade for them, especially because Sheepstick, I think, was already down. Yeah, it was for her, so she's not super valuable. Empath in the background, getting killed as Rhapsody dies as well. Shrunken Heads are going to be wearing off here. Gravekeeper's is already down. He's trying to juke something into the woods. That's not going to work. And in the meantime, Pharaoh is going to get caught in the background. So, once again, a 5-for-1. Yep, and that's the game. So,
Legion wins.
not a huge surprise there with 2 racks down and a token up the Legion side. It's just basically like, let's end this top, and then they take another team fight and win before that can even happen.
Concede vote.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, 45 minutes, actually. Pretty solid game here. The first one in this round of 16 matchup between Izu and Frog No Hippo, which is a pretty great name for a team. To be honest.
Definitely a great name. I think it comes down to drafts. I don't like the Hellborn draft very much. They're aiming for a double support team, but they just don't have the early game presence for that to work. I mean, look at the scoreboard, and it's a 1-11 Rhapsody, 2-10 Empath, and a 1-6 Madman. Keep in mind, Boarbeater is a solid player, but I just think that their draft got completely dumped on because of that Pebbles, because of that Riptide, and even because of that Aluna. There's just too much nuke damage going out for them to handle. And the weak HP pool just could not hold up at all.
Yeah, I think Pebbles really the key to this game. I mean, his ability to get the portal key early and then essentially terrify the Hellborn side into a whole bunch of deaths and not a lot of really good farm was really crucial.
Izu made a good pick in that they saw that the Hellborn, or they anticipated that Hellborn was going to go for a dual support team. And if you go dual support team, Pebbles is like the last trait you want to see because you're aiming for that early game presence, and if you have the Pebbles ganking constantly on those 2 supports, you can't. It's hard to do anything because that initiation is just too strong. So well played from Izu. I've never seen them before, and the fact that they just beat Frog No Hippo is definitely impressive. So good job.
And that will do it here for game 1. So we're going to move to game 2 in just